I've recently seen a couple of people ask me how to get through certain challenges in Onimusha 2, and one of these is completing the Team Oni minigame. For those unaware, Team Oni is an extra mode that has you fight through a series of rooms in a similar fashion to the Phantom Realm, though as the name would suggest, you do so with a team of characters, switching between them on the fly whenever necessary. By clicking the right stick, you can switch to whoever you have unlocked, that being determined by whose playable sections you've gone through in the main game. So if you don't have everyone unlocked, go through the main game and trigger their playable sections, then beat the run. It is actually possible to trigger everyone's playable sections in a single run, but unlocking everyone else's playable sections in the same run can be rather difficult. While I initially managed to trigger Kataro's by giving him Gabishi, Kaimyo Hachimaki and the Heian Gyaran, subsequent playthroughs where I've tried the same method with everyone has resulted in his section not triggering, even when his section on its own initially triggered, despite those 3 gifts being the only ones I gave him. I do suspect that there is at least something that triggers it, but in the end, it honestly just feels random at this point. So it's probably best to just pile on every gift you have to max everyone's friendship if you can. Beat their sections once you trigger them, then beat the game in order to unlock them for Team Oni. Now that you have every character available, it's time to dive into the mode itself. As I mentioned, you must go through a series of rooms and defeat every enemy in each before moving on to the next. However, while you can switch to any of your available characters at any time, the character you are controlling will have their health slowly drain at a constant rate. Not so fast that it becomes a massive issue, but enough that wasting time can seriously screw you over. Something else to note is that even if you defeat an enemy with a critical, they will never drop yellow souls, at least with one exception which we'll cover later. Instead, there are pots that can be found in most rooms. Breaking a brown pot will produce a large blue soul, and breaking a blue pot will drop a large yellow soul, which kind of feels a little backwards now that I think about it. However, if an enemy breaks a pot, no soul will be produced, so it's best to either keep them away from the pots or bring the Gemma down before they have a chance to break them. Something else to remember is that if any of your characters die, they cannot be revived, rendering them unavailable for the rest of the run, so remember to switch to someone else if one is in a dangerous position. From the beginning, each character will start only with their weakest weapon, with Jubei stuck with the Yagyu sword for the first couple of rooms, though you will slowly gain stronger weapons as you progress. Every couple of floors, you'll reach a safe room where your health will stop draining, and you'll be presented with treasure chests with predetermined weapons and items to help you. By the end, every character will have their most powerful weapons available, at least with the exception of the Rekka Ken, though there is a secret weapon that cannot be found anywhere else in the game that you'll get your hands on instead. Something else to note is that whenever you go through a portal after completing a room, the character that you are controlling will gain back half of their maximum health, so switching into a character with low health in order to go through the portal can be a good way to keep them alive. Anyway, now that we understand the mode, let's go through each room step by step. The first room throws a group of 7 green jade at you, so there shouldn't be any issues here. Landing criticals to sweep through them shouldn't be too tough, but a simpler way to get through would be to switch to Eke and use his magic attack to bind them in place, letting you kill each of them safely. This can also let you break the pots without worrying about the jade breaking them first, though bear in mind that as soon as you enter the room, they will be spread apart a bit too much for your magic attack to hit them all, so you might want to wait until they get closer, or just bind the ones close to you and then deal with the ones that are still moving. Once they're done, head through the portal to reach a room with 5 Oda Samurai. Again, Eke's magic attack can be very useful here, especially since these guys really like to use their quick draw attack whenever they can, which can be a bit annoying when they all do it simultaneously. One of them will already be sheathed as soon as you arrive, and his attack will likely break both of the health pots next to you, so using Eke's magic as soon as you arrive can protect them and let you get the yellow souls if necessary. Get through the portal once you're done in order to reach your first safe room, where you'll find 2 chests containing Oyu's Furangi and Jubei's Burrito. Remember to switch between characters in order to equip your new weapons, especially since anyone who isn't Jubei doesn't have access to the quick weapon swapping feature. Once you're ready, head through the portal to reach the next room. Here, instead of fighting Genma, you must use a finisher to kill each and every frog in the swamp. Unfortunately, a finisher is the only thing that actually affects them, as AoE attacks like Eke's magic or Magoichi's flash bomb do nothing, and aiming at them with Magoichi's gun or Kataro's shuriken also proves ineffective. My best advice here would be to use a finisher when you're not standing directly on top of them, as every character seems to have a bit of forward momentum whenever they try to do a finisher, leading them to miss it. So try to move back a step or two before performing it, and hopefully you should manage to land the hit. On the plus side, there are a couple of blue pots that can be safely broken since the frogs do not attack in any way, so use them to keep yourself alive as you deal with them. Once you're done, move through the portal to reach a room with 3 Oda Bodyguards and 3 Oda Archers, as well as a couple of healing and magic pots. Here, I'd suggest switching to Kotaro and using his magic attack to render yourself invisible and keep their attention away from you. Use this to bring down the archers first so you don't need to worry about them taking any pot shots, and break any pots needed to keep yourself going. If you still have time while invisible, deal with 1 or 2 of the bodyguards, but you'll probably reappear by this time. Without the archers, switching to Oyu and using her own magic attack can help deal with them rather quickly when mixed with the newly acquired Farangi. This also demonstrates why Oyu is one of the best characters you have. Her magic ability causes every hit from her weapon to produce a soul, and this is determined on a per hit basis, not a per swing basis. So hitting multiple enemies in one attack will cause each of them to produce a soul at the same time. More importantly, this is the aforementioned exception to the yellow soul rule, as it can produce all 3 types of souls, meaning she can be a vital source of healing as well as restoring magic when in a bind, especially when managing to hit multiple Genma at the same time before her magic wears off. Once you're done here, move to the next room through the portal, where you'll find 3 red jade and a Dorogando. Deal with the 3 jade before moving down the hall, as despite their increased health, they are still rather easy to beat. Once they're done, head down to find a health pot containing 2 large yellow souls, and the Dorogando sitting next to a magic pot. Oyu's magic can be useful against this guy, as every attack, no matter how strong or weak, will cause it to flinch, so use that to your advantage while potentially producing free yellow souls. Once the Dorogando goes into its berserk state, switch to Jubei and spam Boruto's thunder magic, since standard attacks will no longer flinch it. After a couple of magic attacks, the Dorogando should go down, and you can continue to the next safe room. Inside you'll find 3 chests that contain Hyojin Yari, a herb, and Kataro's Roga Kunai. Again, make sure to equip Kataro's new weapon before moving on, since this significantly raises his usefulness, especially with how frankly overpowered his invisibility is against most enemies. Move to the next room to reach the spiral staircase beneath Gifu, on which 3 green archer jade are situated at varying spots. The number 1 rule here is to make sure you don't stand still, since they will have issues hitting a moving target. Honestly, I would say your best bet here is to switch to Kotaro and just use a running attack the moment you get close to them, since the damage increase from your new weapon will kill them in a single hit. Just make sure to block if they're about to fire, just in case you aren't able to avoid them, and keep yourself moving just to make sure the rest of the arrows aren't able to hit you on the way up. Once you bring the last archer down, run back to the bottom to find the portal, though you can break the healing pots if the trek up and down the staircase drain too much of your health. The next room is a great spot for Magoichi. You'll be initially met by a single Bai-Gozales on the other side of the room, but it will not become aggressive until you start moving, so stay in place and just pelt it with Magoichi's gunfire until it goes down. After you move a little bit, 2 Derahyukan will pop up. They are extremely open to an Isen if they do a full body spin, but otherwise, Kataro's technique attack breaks through their block and can instantly bring them down if all 3 hits land. By technique, I mean hitting down up on the D-pad before attacking while locking on to an enemy. Remember to tap the attack button again as the second hit is launched to trigger the third hit. If Magoichi is still in a good position, however, then you can just pelt them with gunfire too, since they are not able to block your bullets, and soon they should go down as well. Killing the Bai-Gozales from afar can also ensure that it doesn't break the pots, and the Derahyukan's low HP makes them easy to bring down before they can break anything as well, so this can be a good place to restore some health and magic. Head to the next room and you'll be faced with the Gyaran Queen. This can be particularly tricky since Jubei has no access to Senpu Maru yet, and the only character you have with constant long range attacks is Magoichi, so start with him and keep your distance while firing off your gun. While it does not have as many compared to the main game, the Gyaran Queen will periodically send smaller Gyaran at you. Block them when they attack, and fire off a few shots as they begin returning to the Queen to pick them off. In the meantime, there's a fair few pots on either side of the arena, so you can take the time between attacks to break them and restore yourself when necessary. Once the smaller Gyarans are dealt with, the Queen will begin attacking itself. Remember, it only has 2 attacks, both of which aren't too difficult to avoid if you know what you're doing. It will always start with a fast and powerful roll towards you, and while it does break your guard, it will only hit you once, so it is still safe to block. The other attack involves it slowly moving towards you as it rapidly spins in place. Just keep your distance as it does this, as blocking it will only get you caught in the constant hits, and it can drain your health very fast, as once it hits you, it will not stop hitting you until it stops spinning, potentially leading to the death of one of your characters. Magoichi's magic that allows you to fire constantly can keep it at distance a little when it spins, but with him stuck with his tri-barrel gun, his damage output isn't great, and his slow fire rate doesn't keep it at bay for long. On the flip side, Kataro's invisibility is brilliant for this fight, especially when it's spinning, giving you the chance to break the pots when necessary, as well as just to retreat to a safe spot if you find yourself in a bind. Even if you just want to relocate somebody else, just switch to Kataro, use his invisibility, move away while the Queen is distracted, then switch back. Jubei's magic attacks with Boraito and Hyojin Yari will flinch it and knock it out of its attacks, so that can be useful to break its momentum. And Oyu's magic can also work to spawn more useful souls since it is a bit of a health sponge, allowing for more hits to spawn more souls. Once the Queen is defeated, head to the next room to find a total of 5 Bazoo, though they will not all immediately spawn. I found Kataro to be rather ideal here, not because of his magic, but because his Roga Kunai has a fast standard combo that is guaranteed to kill them in 2 to 3 hits. Just block the Bazoo when they roll and retaliate with a standard combo, and they'll all go down pretty quick. Break what pots you can to restore yourself and move to the next room. This room can be a bit tricky given that you're faced with 2 Gerohone alongside a single red jade. Kataro's invisibility can help to both distract the Genma while also breaking the nearby pots before they have the chance, and once you restore yourself, deal with the red jade just to get it out of the way. After that, Jubei's magic can be rather useful here, providing you have any more to spare. Otherwise, his Hyojin Yari as well as Eke are probably your best bets due to their long reach, as damage to the Gerohone's body is the only damage that really matters, and they can reliably reach the body even with its multiple snakeheads trying to block you off. Magoichi can land hits as well, but again, his tri-barrel gun just doesn't have enough damage output to make up for his slow animations and immobility while firing. Just focus on one of them to bring it down as fast as possible in order to make dealing with the second one a little less tedious. Head to the portal once the second Gerohone is beaten to reach another safe room, though don't forget to break the pots first if there are any left. Here's where you'll find 4 more chests, this time containing Gorai Shinki, the Halberd, the Gladius, and Senpu Maru. Given how long it's been with no upgrades, this makes both Eke and Magoichi significantly more viable, giving a significant boost to Eke's damage and allowing Magoichi to launch gunfire quite a bit faster, not to mention benefiting a great deal more from his bottomless clip magic ability. Once everyone is equipped, head through the portal to reach the Star Tower, where a number of red Archer Jade will begin firing on you from above. Once again, Kataro's invisibility can be rather useful, allowing you to safely climb the tower and deal with the archers while they aim at your decoy, though using Jubei's newly acquired wind magic from beneath can also deal with 1 or 2, though bear in mind that the tornado will not be wide enough to hit all of them at once. Once all of the Jade are beaten, head back to the bottom to cause an Uwasha to spawn. This is nowhere near as much of a threat as it seems. If you can reliably use Kataro's full 3-hit back-forward technique, you can instantly knock it to the ground for a finisher. Hell, landing a full standard combo first will cause the technique to defeat it outright. Thanks to the Roga Kunai, his damage output is enough to make this Genma rather easy to bring down. Break whatever pots remain, then head back up top to find the portal to reach the Star Tower roof. Now this room is practically made for Magoichi, especially now that you have Gyaran at your disposal. Immediately start firing on the Gyaran Musade that pops up next to you until it goes down. Then stay in the same place as you begin firing on the faraway Zidane, as it will not aggro until you get close. 2 more Gyaran Musade will likely appear before you kill the Zidane, so just switch targets to them and mow them down first with continuous gunfire. Once done, just stay at a distance while pelting the Zidane for an easy kill. Then move to the other side to find a second Zidane, and just repeat the process for another free kill. This method will likely prevent any of them from breaking the pots near the middle as well, so break them and restore yourself as needed before heading to the portal and reaching another safe room. Here you'll find another 4 chests containing Dokotsui, a herb, the flamethrower, and Kunikazushi? As in the weapon that flat out insta-kills Ginkenfats at the end of the game. Yes, Kunikazushi is actually usable in this game, and may well be Magoichi's equivalent of the Rekka Ken. However, be aware that you can only fire it once. After you fire your first shot, you cannot use it again, and that's because it will kill literally anything in a single hit, so save it for the final room if necessary. As for the flamethrower, its short range and the slower animations when aiming or using it honestly make it rather useless, at least with one exception when it comes to the 3 remaining rooms, but we'll get to that. For now, it's best to just stick with Gyaran. Once you've got everything set up, head to the next room to find yourself facing 2 Bazoo washers, with one immediately ready to hit you as soon as you arrive, so either use a magic attack for invincibility frames, or immediately run away from the camera to avoid the hit. This is yet another good time for Kotaro's invisibility to draw both of the Bazoo washer together while you run off to break the pots while they're distracted. Once they are together and at long range, swap to Magoichi and use his magic to pelt them with Gyaran. Thanks to their slow movement, the constant gunfire will actually push them both further away from you, and after a single use of his magic, at least one of them will likely drop dead before it wears off. After that, just keep firing on the remaining Bazoo washer and it'll fall as well. You probably won't need your magic for the last one, as it has already likely taken a bit of damage in the process of beating the first one. Again, break whatever pots are left to heal and restore, then move to the next room where you'll be faced with a set of 3 Bai-Gozales. This is actually perfect for Eke, especially now that he has access to the halberd. Move between them all and use his magic to bind them all in place, and begin picking them off one by one. Don't forget that you can use your back-forward technique attack in the middle of a standard combo, so landing 2 to 3 hits of the standard combo, followed by his full technique, will instantly bring them down. If you can't kill them all before they regain their movement, remember that Eke's charms, while dealing very little damage, will instantly cause the Bai-Gozales to fall to the ground for an easy finisher. You may need to land 2 of them to actually beat it, but his finishers are rather quick, so you should have no trouble killing them before they get up. With them beaten, break the pots to restore and move on to the final safe room. No weapons this time, however. Instead, you'll get your hands on 2 herbs and a medicine. Now, there is only 1 room left to clear, so make sure everyone is in good health and move on to Team Oni's final boss, Human Nobunaga. Yet another aspect that doesn't appear in the main game. In reality, however, he basically acts the same as the first phase of his Genma counterpart, so if you know how to deal with him in the main game, you should be fine here. A word of warning, however, Kotaro's invisibility will be utterly useless here, as he is the only enemy that actively tracks you even when you're invisible, so you'll need to try something else. Something to keep in mind with Nobunaga is that he is vulnerable when he is attacking you, and he will often attack when he is at close range, so approaching to bait an attack in order to retaliate will give you the chance to land a few hits. Using whatever magic you have left for Jubei will do well to soften him up, but don't forget that you also have Kunikazushi on hand as well. If you can get some distance, swapping to Magoichi and equipping Kunikazushi can give you the chance to bait Nobunaga once again. It does, however, lock you into the same slow animations as the flamethrower, so be sure to lock onto Nobunaga before approaching so you can fire the moment you see an opening. When he's about to attack, fire the shot and he will go down instantly. If that isn't an option, however, just keep yourself quick on your feet and ready to strafe around his attacks to retaliate, and don't forget to pop your character's magic to give yourself invincibility frames as well if need be. Oyu can be rather useful here for this reason, though Magoichi's bottomless magic with Gorai Shinki can also prove effective as well. Just remember to bait his attack before firing, otherwise Nobunaga will block every single bullet. There is, however, a way to actually cheese this fight as well. Magoichi's flamethrower. While I'm normally not too fond of it due to its lack of speed and range, it quickly becomes monstrously powerful against Nobunaga of all people. So much so that it is almost impossible for him to actually damage you. Just have it equipped before entering the room, aim before he approaches, and fire as soon as he gets close enough to attack. This will result in one of two outcomes. Nobunaga will be flinched out of his attack before it launches, or the flamethrower will push him back far enough for his attack to miss you. After around 10 to 15 seconds worth of damage, Nobunaga will drop. Seriously, that is all it takes. Either the flamethrower is a great deal stronger than I initially gave it credit for, or Nobunaga has woefully low health for a final boss here. Either way, just keep up the pressure and you will emerge the victor, netting you the Gathering Forces achievement and opening the final portal. And with that, you have completed Team Oni. As tough as it seems on the surface, once you understand what each character excels at, it's not nearly as bad as it looks. In the end, it's all about knowing who fits what situation the best, and what I've just told is simply what I found to be the easiest way forward. It most certainly isn't the only viable strategy though, so get a feel for each character and maybe you'll find other characters to be more useful in certain situations. Thanks for watching everyone, and I hope that this helps those who are struggling through this mode. And of course, if you are a fan of Onimusha based content like this, be sure to like and subscribe so that you don't miss any more. I would very much appreciate it. Until next time, take care of yourselves. Danish out.